Thank you so much for having me today. It is an honor to be here presenting my work at this symposium. So I will be traveling in space and in time from Brazil in 19th century to the Indian Ocean world in the early modern period. And today I will be talking about part of my ongoing dissertation at the Institute for History, Leiden University. And my project studies the Dutch Empire mainly through the Dutch East India Company or the VOC and the ways in which the Dutch were entangled with so-called, elephant traditions across the Indian Ocean world. And today I will be specifically talking about the VOC in Sri Lanka or Ceylon from the middle of the 17th century to the 18th century. The picture you see here on the slide is a drawing from the Dutch minister who got to travel to Batavia and Ceylon in the late 18th century, and his name is Jan Brandes. People who study history of natural history may know his name well because he had a wonderful collection of drawings that depict the natural world in Indonesia and Sri Lanka at the time. So now, sorry. All right, let me begin by giving a brief historical background of the Dutch East India Company and how it became a Western power in Ceylon. The Dutch East India Company, or the VOC in Dutch abbreviation, was actually a united company established by the Dutch State General in 1602, around 30 years after the liberation of the Dutch Republic from the Spanish Habsburg. It was conglomerated by combining petty existing companies that had traded with Asia before. And as often mentioned, it was given permission to do treaties, wage war, and setting settlements or early colonies. And alongside its counterpart called the Dutch West India Company, it has tremendous networks through settlements and trading posts stretching from Africa to Asia. That is from the Cape of Good Hope in Southern Africa, to Persia, to India, to Sri Lanka, to Thailand, to Indonesia, and even further to Japan. And the capital of its empire was in Java Island. Batavia, or Jakarta today, was established there in 1619, and the city would become a capital of the Dutch modern empire, or the Dutch East Indies, from the 19th century after the VOC had been dissolved after the Napoleonic War. And during the heyday of the VOC, Ceylon or Sri Lanka was the second most important node of the VOC empire after Batavia. And before the VOC time, Ceylon had been occupied by the Portuguese. But in the middle of the 17th century, with the help of the indigenous kingdom, this is the Kingdom of Kandy, the VOC kicks out the Portuguese from the island and then became a hegemonic power on the coastal area of the island. And from now, the VOC became the only Western power that had a hand on the island, controlling overseas trade and natural resources like cinnamon. This is the most important commodity for the VOC there, and of course, elephants. And for elephants, apart from using them in trade, the Dutch also use elephants in their diplomatic practice conducted with empires in Asia across Asia, from Persia to Japan. And sometimes the VOC also transferred elephants to the Dutch Republic in Europe as gift for various stadtholders or the rulers, in quotation, of the Dutch Republic. And the picture of the slide is the VOC emblem in Ceylon. We can see that the VOC also employ a figure of the elephant as its emblem on the island. Elephant business of the VOC in Dutch Ceylon was done through the elephant department. And the headquarters of this department was in Matara, the southern part of Ceylon. And from this diagram made by a German traveler, we can see that inside the VOC fort in Matara, there are 4 large elephant stables in the VOC fort in Matara. So nearby, there are water and pond where elephants would be brought to drink water and freshen up. And elephants captured from the wilderness would be brought here to these stables, waiting to be transferred further to the north of the island, that is in Jaffna. And there they would be traded with Indian merchants. And also in other Dutch settlements on the island, there are also elephant stables nearby as well, such as in Colombo, in Jaffna, or in Trincomalee. November last year, I just went to Sri Lanka for an archival research, and I did manage to go to Matara just to get, a vibe of an area where the VOC elephant stables were located. And I found out that the elephant stables are still lingering in people's memory, as you can see from the walking tour map made by the tourist organization that they include the elephant story in Matara into their walking experience as well. It has often been argued that a trading company like the Dutch East India Company was a crucial factor in creating empirical and rational knowledge. These two seminal works by Harold Cook and Daniel Magoshi are examples of this kind of argument. Although they don't agree with each other about the consensus in European knowledge about the natural world, because, as put by Magoshi, knowledge was done through commercial interests, so it has to be protected and kept behind the public, or kept from the public. And but these two works still put much emphasis on empirical nature of the VOC in developing scientific knowledge in Europe. And the so-called new philosophy was emerged and influenced by the influx of natural things from Asia through the VOC channels. However, in this presentation, I would like to bring your attention to another aspect of the Dutch East India Company, that is an aspect of it being entangled with Asian symbolic or occult elephant traditions through its knowledge and management of elephants. So I would like to argue that the material facet of the trading company can be in harmony with symbolic or occult practice that it is working with. And these two don't have to be in a position with each other, but can support one another. I will give three dimensions gained from consulting the Dutch East India Company's documents, both in manuscripts and in print. The first one is about elephants hunting, and the second one is how the Dutch categorize elephant after capturing them from the wilderness, and the last one is about how to repopulate them. So let's go to the first one about the elephant hunting. When I say hunting here, it's not meant to be like elephant hunting practice seen from the 19th century that people are hunting game animals to death to assert their, complete domination over nature or colonized countries. But hunting elephants in early modern Ceylon for the Dutch is meant to capture them alive. There is a strict regulation in Dutch Ceylon forbidding people to hunt elephant in Ceylon to death. And this is also the reason why the Dutch, they try to ban local people from using the pit method. That is digging a large pit and creating a trap to lure elephant to fall into it, because this is fatal to elephants. The Dutch in the middle of the 17th century, they also tried to encourage people to use a hunting method called a crow system. And this crow system has been believed to be imported by the Portuguese to the island from Bengal in India. And this system of capturing elephants can be found elsewhere as well, such as in Thailand and in the Malay Peninsula. The structure of the crow is in, a triangle shape with a wide opening at one space and a very narrow funnel at the other. The picture here is the VOC diagram illustrating the structure of the crow, and there are 6 compartments inside the crow, and the wide opening space is for letting wild elephant that has been chased by local people to enter the crow. And after that, this wide space will be sealed off with a row of wooden pillars. Elephants will be left here for days with food and drink, and then chased to another compartment until they show early sign of submission. And until then, they will be led to the funnel to exit the crowd. And in the funnel here, a very small funnel, elephants have to go out one by one. And after getting out of the crowd, a recently captured elephant will be flanked by 2 tame elephants and then taken to a stables nearby for the next process of domestication. Not long after getting out from the crowd, an elephant will be sprinkled with water, perhaps the sacred water, to calm the beast down and also to drive away evil forces accompanying elephants. An elephant will then be given personal names, and this process was then called by the Dutch as olifanten dopen, or baptizing elephants. It is interesting that elephant names are varied. The naming system is a combination of Sinhalese names, Dutch names, and the Greco-Roman names. For example, elephant captured in the elephant hunting in 1785 are named as Colombo, the capital of Dutch Ceylon. There is one named Wilhelmina, there is one named Maria, there is one named Juno, which is the Roman goddess. And interestingly, there is one named Hercules, which is the son of Jupiter. I found one document in Sri Lanka that there was one Tusker in the late 18th century that was named Utrecht, which is one of the most important cities in the Dutch Republic at the time. Hunting elephant is organized by the elephant department, and this department has a huge number of human resources. These people are subject to the company, and the number of people in this department at the end of the 18th century is around 900, excluding recruited people used for chasing elephant in the forest. And these people are from nearby villages where a hunt takes place. Sometimes a Dutch governor of Ceylon would visit a hunting place, so there will be a pavilion erected up beside a crowd for a governor and his retinue to observe the hunt. In 1717, for example, the Dutch governor visits the hunt and he comes to inspect the efficiency of the hunt. And before the hunt, he goes to the wide opening size of the crowd and gives courage to local hunters doing their jobs. If we read elephant hunting with a theory of theater state, elephant hunting is thought one of the spectacles that shares the idea of rulership, controlling both the political and natural realms. So here, the Dutch governor visiting the hunt and giving courage to people subjected under him is like he is playing his role as an ancient king, observing a space in which his power comes into play. Now, let's turn to another dimension. Here I am going to talk about the process after capturing elephants. So after capturing elephants, elephants will be listed through what is called in Dutch roller van olifanten. That is an elephant roll or an elephant list. The roll was written in Sinhala first and then would be translated into Dutch. And the format of the list is usually structured in 3 columns. The first will be all the names given to elephants. The second is measurement done in local standard. And the last one, which is quite interesting, is about physical description of each elephant. When I first saw this elephant roll, I don't know why do they have to mark that this elephant has a dull tail, this elephant has a hole in the ear, this elephant has 16 nails, etc., etc. But it's getting more sensical when I started reading elephant treatises across South and Southeast Asia. I have to say here for a bit that elephant knowledge has been shared throughout the Indian Ocean world since antiquity through the expansion of Indic religions and literary culture that we call the Sanskrit cosmopolis. So all elephant treatises found in Asia share a similar structure and narrative. I will give 4 examples from elephant rolls from the 17th to 18th centuries. The first one is from 1717. There is one elephant that was marked as hard what monk, and which can be translated as limping or walking with difficulty. Of course, walking with difficulty refers to something not good. But if we look at the knowledge of the elephant traditions shared across the Indian Ocean world, we may see this phrase in a different light. So take a look at this cave inscription in the northwestern India. There is one sentence that lavishly describes the physical appearances of the good king. And this king, this Indian king, has a gait that was beautiful like the gait of a choice elephant. So it means that the manner of walking of an elephant is important to consider if an elephant is good or bad. The elephant that has problem with walking is surely not fit to be used to trade or importantly be given as gift to a king. So it should be regarded. So it should be discarded and employed as just a working elephant. The other one is from the year 1698. One of the elephants in this row was marked as having a storm start, meaning having a dull or blunt tail. And the tail is also important in terms of differentiating a good and bad elephant. Jeremy van Vliet, who is a Dutch chief of the trading settlement in Thailand, wrote a description of the Thai king that he is the divine master of the golden thrones, of the towers, of the white, red, and round-tailed elephants. So the tail of the elephant has to be in a particular shape. A dull tail signifies a bad elephant, of course. And another one is from 1689. One of the elephants in this row was commented as having only 16 nails. So why do these nails matter? Nails of an elephant is very symbolic in the sense that it is like portent, warning that something is likely to happen. And if you look at one of the elephant treatises in India, it says that a very good is an elephant whose feet are distinguished by nails numbering 20. Or if you take a look at the Ceylon elephant treatise, it is stated that noble elephants must possess 20 soft nails of the toes or at least 18 nails. The Malay elephant treatise states clearly about the consequence of having a 16-nail elephant. It says that an elephant has a number of nails below 18. This elephant would bring ill health and sickness upon anyone that keeps it, and anyone who keeps it here is usually a king. And this is a page from a Thai elephant manuscript. It is explaining that nails are an important part of the elephant that should be well taken care of. And you can see here that there are two elephants, one with beautiful white nails and the second one with deformed dark nails. It is said that in this manuscript that in possessing only the second one, it will bring catastrophe to a kingdom and a person who owns it. Some elephant in an elephant row were commented as having a calf or pregnant. According to an elephant treatise in India, it is stated clearly that an elephant cow that is pregnant or that is accompanied by a calf, if taken, causes destruction to vehicular animals or treasury. One should take her to a penance grove and to her own grove and turn her loose, and then render homage to the elephants of the quarters, that is a cosmic elephant, and the gods. So this might be an ancient tactic for preventing taking young elephants from the wilderness so they can thrive and grow properly in the forest. For the last section, let me turn to the ways in which the Dutch they try to repopulate more elephants with good physical size. As we know from the previous slides, that physical appearances are emblematic of something else that will happen or not happen in the future. And the Dutch likely knew about this system meanings through local people in the elephant department. After years of capturing and taking elephants from the wilderness, the numbers of wild elephants seems to dwindle, and also good elephants are decreasing. An elephant has been believed throughout Eurasia as benign and civilized animal. One of the beliefs is that elephants do not mate in public due to their sense of shame. So the French naturalist like Buffon also wrote about this in his natural history writing. So sometimes WC decided to let female elephants with good physical size return to the forest so they can bring about good elephants in the future by copulating with male elephants. And this is quite contrary to breeding culture for other animals like horses, that you can do breeding in stables. However, sometimes with this symbolic system, it can also lead to violence. Elephants with bad physical appearances were sometimes shot to death. So in conclusion, we have seen that three dimensions of how the Dutch deal with elephants in early modern Sri Lanka are entangled with symbolic elephant traditions shared across the Indian Ocean world. Apart from showing that it was crucial for the VOC to adapt itself into the pre-existing system of the Asian environments, this presentation aims to show that the VOC that has been seen as a materialist corporate generating scientific knowledge about nature was also highly entangled with symbolic traditions of the elephant. Either just for profit from the elephant trade or efficiency in gift-giving diplomacy, it cannot be denied that the Dutch East India Company became well aware of these symbolic traditions and played the game very well with these gigantic and charismatic beasts like elephants. So by looking at a history of elephants through the VOC sources, we can question or give nuances to the age-old dichotomies between symbolic versus empirical, superstitious versus scientific, and importantly, the dichotomy between East versus West. Thank you very much.